I don't have it. Yeah.
What is it like to be a wife of a deacon?
No, we're not going to go into that one.
Brought his camera.
How close are we going to be now?
They can maybe share my...
Yeah, we can share.
And that one can be used too.
We're happy to share.
I just need to
So
share.
you go all the way in? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that would be fine. I just need to share because I'm not speaking.
Okay. How are we doing?
Oh, we like
I haven't used this studio in a long time, so...
No. I'm just going to say...
Let me find one for you?
I think he was...
Yeah, why don't you...
We'll film everyone coming in.
It lacks an arm, but...
Absolutely love your
It-
chapel.
Be a lot of
Isn't that gorgeous? Yeah.
fun to do a game, huh?
One of
Oh
the
yeah,
few
like
things that we're able to make.
okay.
Oh, it's just at the altar.
Yeah. I don't even remember where the altar came from.
When are we gonna be going on the air?
Well, we'll record it now, and it'll be on the air tomorrow. Okay?
When are you gonna turn on the microphone?
In just a few minutes, I think. Let's see. I'm hearing myself, so I must be open. Okay. Alrighty.
Do we need to put on the microphone or your...
If you wish, what you will hear is yourself and me and everything.
Oh,
So, okay. Who have I got all in a row now?
I'm Jean, Kevin's
Jane,
mom.
Kevin,
you want to ready?
Deacon Sean,
And I'm Jane.
Jane,
Clifford,
okay.
Mom. I think you have a write-up from me.
Oh,
Yes,
Well, with a Jean and a Jane, that's been,
that's catchy.
my husband was Jean and
Joan.
we answered to anything for them.
Oh,
We're doing really well.
who are the J ladies?
Yeah.
You know what I might do, Deacon, is I might just ask you to introduce the people who are with you. You know, rather than me doing everybody.
Okay. We got Jean,
Jane.
and Kevin, and my wife Joan.
We don't introduce them.
There we go.
Yes.
Okay. Do all of them sound okay? Okay. All right. Okay, go ahead and record. And I can't hear you. Where am I supposed to hear you? There, I hear you.
All right. We thank God for bringing us together today at this beautiful radio station and their outreach of ministry to the church. I'd like to introduce next to me Kevin
Hi,
Hollinger and his mother
Kevin Hollington.
Kevin Hollington, and his mother Jean and Jane Clifford over here.
Okay.
Just like
Okay. I'll start it again here,
Okay,
and
okay.
we'll give that a shot. Okay. Oh, I better look at my time while I'm going here. Let's see. There we go. Okay, here we go. Welcome back to City Winds. I'm Paul Sadek, along with Deacon Sean Curtin. He was ordained a deacon in 2003 and assigned at St. Vincent de Paul in Brooklyn Park on the pastoral team at St. Therese Southwest. Volunteer chaplain for the Richfield Police Department. And with his wife Joan, coordinator for the Archdiocesan Outreach to Persons with Disabilities. Deacon Sean, good to have you here today.
It's a pleasure to be here, Paul, and your
You
outreach.
brought some guests with
Yes,
you.
I got some wonderful guests here. I'd like to introduce Jane Clifford
Good morning.
and Kevin
good morning.
and his wife, or his mother, Jean.
Kevin Hollington, Sean.
Hollington, Kevin Hollington.
Good
Thank
morning.
you. And my wife, Joan, is here also.
Excellent. I want to talk to you a little bit about the ministry that you're involved in, and we also want to talk about the Archbishop's annual Mass for persons with disabilities, which is coming up. But first, maybe you can help me understand what the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops has to say about the celebration of the sacraments for persons with disabilities.
Well, the document that they have put together, we've just celebrated the 30th annual anniversary of that, and the bishops put that together November 15th, 1978, and it's a document that offers invitation and inclusion to all. And as Jesus said, let the children come to me, and that wonderful gospel, we are inviting all of us, God's children, to be part of this big church that we have and everyone to be acknowledged. So the bishops have put together and addressed outreach to all people, no one to be left behind. In other words, when they put this document together, they give the overview of how Jesus founded the church and also the responses that is called to outreach to the parishes to go and find those who are maybe not included by invitation, and most of all a contact that they belong, to widen the circle, make room in that circle for everyone to come to.
A lot of this is a change. We're seeking a change in attitudes more than. Granted, the physical requirements of the church and so forth are important, but so much more we're looking to change hearts, aren't we?
Looking to change hearts, and also when they outlined this document, it's the sacramental access for people, all people, and in particular people with disabilities. It's not can they, but how are we going to get it done? And they do have the guidelines for the catechesis for each individual, and each individual is different. I know when we teach in the classroom the sacramental access, and somebody just has their head down like that and getting ready to receive the first Eucharist, and you think, well, is this person ready or not? But then when the time comes for them to receive the Eucharist, one young man went up and said, "Jesus, I've been waiting for you." So
He
that
was ready, wasn't he?
he was ready for a long time.
Yeah.
So as we look at that, the bishops have looked at this, and they're bringing it forward much more. And they bring it down to the archdiocesan level, which my wife and I coordinate the outreach to people with disabilities here. And that term disabilities is very difficult to define.
It covers a broad range.
Yes, and we all have our disabilities. So when we come together as the broken body of Christ, all of us, it is that great gift of when we are one.
Well, let me ask you, Jean and Kevin, what do you look for from your parish community? Kevin, good to have you here today, Kevin, by the way.
Hey, good morning.
What do you ask of your parish community?
I just like my parish community. I couldn't ask for more. Jean, what do you ask?
Well, we moved here 9 years ago, and we actually kind of hunted around a bit for a parish that would be welcoming to us. And we had two little boys at the time. Now they're both teens, and we found Holy Name of Jesus to be wonderfully inclusive. All the way they've supported Kevin and Brian in preparation for the sacraments and religious ed. So we've been very, very happy. We really just want a place where we can walk in and people recognize you and nod and smile and say hello, and Kevin knows a lot of people there now, and it's a very welcoming atmosphere.
Well, Jane, you're the mother of 7 children, and 2 of them have special needs. Tell me a little bit about what you found in your parish community.
Well, in our parish, of course, the difference between our boys is at least as much as the difference between them and their other brothers and sisters.
Sure.
John, being the oldest and the most profoundly disabled, made his confirmation and was just arrived on that day with his brother Jim as his sponsor. and was accepted as a member of the advanced religious community
Wonderful.
within us. Brian is a high-functioning Down syndrome, and he went through the full course of training for confirmation. I found about a couple weeks in that they were meeting at people's homes, and however they had Brian come down to school and they were doing him separately.
Okay.
And that was not acceptable to me, to Brian, or to a young man who was being mainstreamed into public
Sure.
education.
Yeah.
So we changed that, and I must say it was one of the highlights in our house when one of the boys called at supper time and said, "Tell Brian that we'll pick him up at 7." This didn't happen in our house, and it didn't happen to Brian, and Brian had really been brought into the whole thing.
Yeah.
They worked on, they had workbooks that they did, and I was looking and kind of going through with what Brian was to do, and one of the questions was, who is your best friend? And Brian had written Jesus, and I thought, yep, he's got it.
Again, yeah. He's got it. He's ready.
And so we have been part of this Mass for the Disabled way back to when it was at St. Thomas and Bishop Roach. And Brian is privileged to have been a server from that time, clear through the different changes, and now we have this wonderful sight of being at St. Mary's in the seminary. So we have been a part of this for a long time.
Deacon Sean, how is the church offering sacramental access for all persons?
The way that we're offering it is, first of all, we publicize it to the parishes. We work with the DREs, these wonderful DREs. And
Directors of Religious Education.
Yes, yes. And I must tell you, Paul, that every pastor, every priest that I have contacted and talked with wants inclusion, wants that invitation. But sometimes it has to be kind of boiled down to a classroom where each individual is comfortable to their own ability. And we have found that we have to tailor-made our curriculum to almost the individuals. But we came up with a wonderful curriculum that we're using from Dayton University, and we make copies of the curriculum and send it home with the parents. And because the primary teachers of the faith are the family in the home.
That's true.
The appreciation that the parents show for the faith is going to trickle down right down to their and with that we want to make sure that nobody is left behind. That we go with that invitation, and sometimes parishes. Like last year, there was a young lady came in from Superior, Wisconsin, so we had to get permission for her to be confirmed in that. But stemming from our program, Superior, Wisconsin is going to establish a program up there. So we offer that invitation, and most of all, we want to make sure that we offer comfort and identity within the classroom, some sort of activity, inclusion, attachment, but most of all, that let them know that they are loved by the church, and sometimes they need this kind of intimate tutoring, you could say. And by all means, that's just a start.
As a church overall, and let me open this to all of you, how are we doing on this?
Our church is pretty well. Thank you, Paul.
Jean?
I feel that our church is doing a good job, and I noticed the invitation to this program in our parish newsletter and sought it out. We have a small support group for parents of children with disabilities that we're trying to get together at our church, and I'm finding that there's great acceptance and love, and it's really wonderful. I've been very grateful to what we've seen in the church. I don't know a different church because I've only seen it this way, but my understanding is that it hasn't always been so inclusive, and so this is just, we feel very blessed for our children.
Jean?
The parish itself is very inclusive of Brian. He is singled out as being very much a part of the group. I have not experienced anything like what you are saying. We have not anything within the parishes in our environs that has had any programs since the boys were very small. and St. Joseph's in Hopkins had a small program. The only other thing that Brian has access to is a wonderful retreat each spring, which is a wonderful spiritual experience, and that's out at Tokeno Grace. And but I feel that we have, or Sean and Joan have a huge open space to start working with.
Yeah.
And yes, it has to be individualized, but on the whole, identification just within parishes is a huge opening job just to find, well, because there are only maybe 2 or 3, and they sometimes fade into the background and are not viewed as having spiritual needs separate from just church on Sunday.
Well, let's talk a little bit then, Deacon Sean, about the Mass coming up, the Archbishop's